Derick Giwner back with a man who's almost part of the furniture at Northfield Park, Matt Rose, to discuss a huge night of racing, 16 races on the card, Milstein Memorial Night at Northfield. It's race number 10 on the card. We're going to take a look at the $20,000 guaranteed pick 5, which is a $1 minimum, and it starts in race number 6. And we're going to get right into the selections because we have 5 races to look at here. And my top selections in race 6, it's an Ohio Sire Stakes, are numbers 3 and 5, Terminator and Shane Falco. Terminator, to me, faces the softest field he's seen in a long time. And the same pretty much goes for Shane Falco, and that's why they're 5-2 and 3-1 on the morning line. You look at some of the horses they're in against, Pebble Beach and Gulf Shores. These are some of the top Ohio Stakes horses for these 2-year-old colt pacers. So I went 3 and 5 here, and I noticed, Matt, you don't have the 3 on your ticket.
I don't have the 3 on my ticket. I do have the 5, so we share that. I went 3 deep in this pretty wide open event for 2-year-old colts and geldings on the pace. I went 3 deep with a 2, 4, and 5. I know the 2 and the 4 are still offers in their career. The 2 Seaside Jets with Tyler Smith. He broke in his only start here at Northfield, but since that he's progressed nicely and raced much better with a second and a couple thirds. Rise and Shine Seaside, another down by the Seaside offspring. We know how well they've been doing. He's another horse that battled gamely when he was in the Ohio Stakes Sire Stakes event at Northfield. Broke in the late stages when he may have been holding on for the win. I'm not thrilled with his last couple of starts, but it is a Brian Brown trainee. He's hard not to use, one of those. And Shane Falco from the connections to Charlie May. For reasons that you mentioned, although I didn't use Terminator, but for Shane Falco also, this is probably a softer field, pretty wide open field, and all he has to do is come up with his A game like he did 3 back in a Buckeye event, and he could be tough in here. But 3 deep, 2, 4, and 5, no standouts in this race, and I hope I get by.
The second leg is of this All Stakes pick 5 is another Ohio Sire Stakes event, $50,000 on the line. I don't think we're going to spend much time on this race because I think we're both in agreement that Slingshot looks like the one to beat. He's been doing the heavy lifting, lost to an undefeated horse in Gulf Shores last week. Kind of lays over the field. Maybe the 4 Seaside Way or the 5 Trey Cruz have a shot on their best, but I think this race goes through the 1.
Yeah, I tried to find somebody else to beat him. I really couldn't come up with anything. I ended up keying the horse as well. We saw in his career debut in the Next Generation Scioto, blew a field away here. Won comfortably 2 back. And you notice in his last start, yeah, he didn't win. He ran second to basically a monster, but you notice he wasn't the favorite in that race. So clearly there was another horse who ended up winning the race that was expected to win. So now from this body, he has Dan Noble will be controlling the action, whether just pushing off or yielding or brushing. And yeah, it's kind of hard to look past him at odds on. So he is one of my keys in this ticket.
We'll move on to race number 8. It's the $100,000 Tom Aldridge President's Trot. And these are some really nice top-end Ohio Sire trotters. And for me in this field, I looked at it as the first 2 legs I went with favorites. I had to try and beat the favorite here, and I thought this was a good shot, a good spot to try to beat It's Academic as the 3-1 morning line favorite. You know, a horse that's been racing in stakes, Grand Circuit stakes outside of the state of Ohio. It's been stopping a little bit on the lead. I just felt like with the 7, Mission Accepted right to his inside, who would be my top pick in this race, also certainly leaving. I felt like It's Academic was going to have to work a little, and Mission Accepted sitting in the pocket would have a pretty good shot to beat him in this field. And if things got crazy, I threw in the 3, A Fancy Face, who is really a capable horse. She's only a 4-year-old mare here. She's still trying to, learn everything as far as facing these tougher older horses in many cases, like Mission Accepted is a 6-year-old. So I thought she was a good one to use on the ticket as well as like my saver play. But Mission Accept is my top pick. Could It's Academic win? Certainly, but I'm not in favor. I know you spread a little bit wider here.
Yeah, you mentioned you're trying to beat the favorite, but the truth is, who is the favorite in this race? This is a wide open race made much more interesting by the 2 classy Burke trainees. Mission Accepted, It's Academic drawing the 7 and the 8 holes. I don't know who the favorite's going to be. Whoever it is going to be lukewarm. I went 4 deep. I did look at a fancy face, so I know you used on your ticket. I did not use her. But I used Wesleyan Quest with Joe Bongiorno picking up a catch drive. This mare has been doing pretty good work recently since moving to the Pair Englund barn. I know my chip, interesting veteran trotter coming from Hoosier Park, who's a millionaire trotter and has kind of flown under the radar for years, a fringe stakes player. He's done nothing wrong this year. 6 wins, 20 starts, made 63 grand. He's picking up Ronnie Red Jr. He's got some speed for a mid-pack post. I would not be shocked if he stepped up with the big effort here. And that horse might be a price. He's listed as 15 to 1 on the morning line. And then I did use the 2 Burt trainees. I don't know what kind of trips either one of them are get. They're both figured to be firing off the gate. Where they land is anybody's guess. But I figure since I had a key in the second leg, and I not to give away anything, but I have a key later on, figure I could spread in this race. So I did go 4 deep, 1, 5, 7, 8.
Race number 9 is the $100,000 Myron Charner Invitational Pace, also for Ohio sired older horses. And I went 3 deep in here. From my view, this race definitely goes through number 2, Ocean Rock. He's the speed of the race. He's getting immense post relief here. So you could ignore the fact that he didn't leave the last 2 starts. He's leaving this week. But this race is pretty wide open. There are other horses in here that contend. I really like the 6 Black Hole in this spot as well. Second time on Lasix, had no shot last week after a 56 and 4.5, and might as well just hung it up and went back to the paddock after that. He was second in this race in 2020, and although you don't see any leaving lines on his lines, he left in that race here. So you got to assume there is speed in the tank if Brett Miller wants to use it, and I think he will in this spot. I also used number 9, Section Line Big Ray, who was the 2020 winner of this race. Only 4 starts so far this year, so you can expect that there might be more to come from this horse. Still getting used to racing in 2021. Those are the 3 I went with. I think Ocean Rock's clearly the horse to beat. Black Hole would be my second choice.
Well, I spread also in this race. I went 4 deep. I agree with you on Ocean Rock. Huge speed try in last year's Milstein from, I believe it was the 8 hole to come up just short. He may well be the controlling speed. I used Elver Hanover, who was really a decent quality 4-year-old from the Ron Burke barn. I also threw in Great Dragon, showed decent speed, getting Yannick Gingras with a catch drive. Is he my top pick? No, but would I be shocked if he won? No, and I think he's going to offer a lot of value here, and I think he is capable. And Section Line Big Ray, he only has 4 starts this year, but I was impressed by his effort 3 back, just facing an overnight open field here in Northfield. Aaron Merriman just gunned him from the 8 hole and used him a lot harder than I thought he would be used. He didn't hold back at all. He went at 3/4 and 120 and change, and did come up a little bit short, but he had an excuse to come up short. I don't know what the trip is going to look like now from the second tier, and you're getting Tyler Smith now getting the drive again. He's driven the last couple of weeks. I did not use Black Hole. I'm just does he have speed? Sure, but they all have speed, when needed for the most part. I don't know where he's going to end up. I don't see him. Maybe you don't see him ever seeing the pylons at any point during this race. So I think he might be in line for one of the tougher trips in this race. So I did not use him. But 4 deep, and I am in agreement that Ocean Rock is probably the horse to beat here.
We're going to move on to race number 10 and take a look at the field for this feature, the $300,000 Carl Milstein Memorial. It's really, they didn't get every one of the top 3-year-olds in the sport, but the draw kind of made this interesting since Charlie May drew outside.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Charlie May is definitely the featured horse. Great Ohio bred. We saw what happened in the Meadowlands Pace, unfortunately. He was the winner of the Meadowlands Pace. Technically, we can, I guess we won't take that away from him. And follow that up with 2 relatively easy wins on the front end in Sire Stakes action back here in Northfield and at Scioto's last start. And yeah, 7 hole makes things interesting, especially with a big speed player who drew well in the Joe and Jen Bongiorno horse, Water Sports Teen, who we most recently saw in the Adios. So the post disparities there do make for a wildly entertaining opening quarter, at least that's for sure.
Well, we're going to take a look at some of these replays. We're going to start with Charlie May winning that Ohio Sire Stakes last time, and he wins it kind of easily. And one thing you'll notice on the board is the fractions. They were slow.
Yeah, I mean, that was you're not going to come anywhere near those fractions. And, much like he did at Northfield in the prior start, he just did what he had to do. And he basically was a nice $30,000 training mile, basically. Went off at 1 to 9, and did we have to do beating another contender here in the 9 harder Chewbacca. But clearly we'll have to work much harder tonight if he's going to get it done, especially if he's getting it done on the front end.
On the flip side, our second replay is going to take us to Water Sports Teen in the Adios final. He ends up finishing 3rd. Look at those fractions, a lot faster.
You think? This is only his 4th start since moving to the Jen Bongiorno barn, and he went from just an afterthought overnight horse to a favorite in the Adios final. And he went a wicked pace in the front end, and the horse that beat him is a true talent. And the horse that ran second, Rocky Road Hanover, only snapped him late for second, came back and won on Meadowlands Pace Day. So I'm sorry, on the Hamiltonian Day at the Meadowlands. So I don't take anything away from his loss last week, and I think he is the strongest, sharpest horse coming into this race. And I think from the inside post, he's going to take control and probably park all comers as long as he doesn't go ridiculously fast. I think he's going to take this field wire to wire. And with that said, he is my key. If I make it to the last leg of this pick 5. He is my key ending this pick 5 sequence.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at those pick 5 tickets right now, just ending up in this last leg. And you'll see that I have Water Sports Teen and Charlie May. For me, Water Sports Teen has a bit of a tactical edge in that he has the inside post, and we know he's going to go to the lead. I think Better Sun from the rail could make it a little bit interesting if Doug McNair guns out really hard and tries to force him into a hole. But I think Water Sports Team should be able to get around him, and that gives him a little bit of an edge. Charlie May, to me, is the best horse in the race, and it's just a matter of whether Brett Miller can overcome the post. I think he'll be leaving. I think that Bongiorno is probably going to try to go to the top and only yield if Charlie May comes. So if it's sitting 7-2 at Northfield Park at the top of the stretch, I like my chances.
I'll agree with you that if he's going to yield to somebody, it may well be only Charlie May. If Charlie May can get close enough, early enough to be in a quote, yieldable position. But you know what? There's 2 ways to look at the racing at Northfield. Like a regular half-mile track, and like the way Northfield races are generally contested. And I always try to look for an outer flow or something's going to be wild or whatever. And I've kind of guessed wrong the last few times in these big stakes races. So I'm going to kind of flip it a little bit here, and I'm going to assume that Water Sports Team is going to be able to secure the front, not have to be pressed incredibly hard while all horses are going long trips on the rim, and figure if I key him, it enables me to spread obviously in 3 of the other legs, as you can see. And I didn't want to use 2 favorites and end up doubling my ticket price. So you know what? I think he's just in the winning spot. If the posts were flipped, I probably most likely go to Charlie May on top. But that's pretty logical. But with that said, I'm hoping Bongiorno can take the field wire to wire while others are roughed up, and that's why he's my key for a $48 ticket, the $1 pick 5 $48 ticket.
And it's a $20,000 guaranteed pool, and I feel thankful in this moment that for once I picked a ticket that's cheaper than you did, because that rarely seems to happen. We'll have free past performances, free harness eye past performances on DRF.com as well. We're going to show all the races live, 16 live races. I believe there's 7 Sire Stakes, the $200,000 Invitationals, and of course the $300,000 Carl Milstein Memorial. It's a great night of racing Saturday, August the 14th at Northfield. Good luck.